Dumela mangwanani mwalelepo fukenjani klikwasvanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show that remains your portal into Africa's most potent stories. Later in the show, we will be joined by our correspondent in South Africa, Arrie Hougaard, as he delivers the South Africa report from Cape Town. But prior to that, these are some of the stories we'll be looking at. WHO seeks greater support as DR Congo Ebola outbreak outpaces response. Bola Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, approves up to 80% military pay increase amid security pressures. Mozambique grants Chinese firms 25-year Machipanda border post concession. And South Africa secures Chinese backing for $122 billion energy expansion. And we are heading soon into the quarter-finals of the biggest tournament in the world right now. That is the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. This is how the games transpired last night. Zambia getting the best of Malawi with a 2-1 win. Barbara Banda, the CAF Women's Player of the Year, having scored Zambia's opening goal there. Malawi with one consolation goal from one of the Chawinga sisters. However, Malawi goes through to the quarterfinals and Zambia has a heartbreaking bow out. Now, Nigeria, former champions, defeating Egypt 6-2. This is Egypt's second game conceding at least 6 goals. So they are out of the tournament and Nigeria gets an opportunity to defend their title. This is Africa Good Morning. We will be bringing you the WAFCON highlights at the end of the show. But for now, we'll be heading into the top stories after the break.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises, from artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative Sport Tourism.
The World Health Organization is seeking increased support with regards to the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the spread of the disease continues to outpace response efforts. The outbreak, declared less than 3 months ago, is already the biggest ever recorded in the DR Congo. According to the latest government update released on Tuesday, 3,802 cases have been recorded and 1,707 people have died. The outbreak is concentrated mainly in eastern Congo's remote Ituri province, which accounts for nearly 90% of all recorded cases. However, infections have also been confirmed in 5 other provinces. The World Health Organization said that it was monitoring more than 17,000 potential contacts, with nearly 80% of those contacts being seen every day. There are currently no proven vaccines or treatments for the disease. However, 2 clinical trials involving post-exposure drugs are underway in Ituri province. Now, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has approved salary increases of up to 80% for members of the armed forces, raising the annual military wage bill from 660 billion naira to 924 billion naira, or $678.68 million US dollars. The new pay structure takes effect on the 1st of September, according to Presidential Advisor Bayo Onanuga. Officers above the rank of colonel, including generals, will receive a 30% increase, while personnel from colonel to warrant officer will get 50% more. Soldiers from private to staff sergeant rank will receive an 80% raise. The measure is aimed at improving troop welfare as Nigeria confronts security challenges across several regions. Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa province continue attacks in the northeast, while armed criminal gangs known as bandits operate in parts of the northwest. Ransom kidnappings are widespread in parts of north-central Nigeria, while security forces also confront periodic separatist-linked violence in the southeast. Tinubu said his administration would continue prioritizing troop warfare and modernizing the armed forces with weapons and technology needed to tackle security threats as attacks continue straining security forces and communities nationwide. Now, Mozambique has awarded Union Portlink and Zhongmei Engineering Group a 25-year concession to build and operate the one-stop border post at Machipanda, a major crossing linking Mozambique and Zimbabwe. Under the public-private partnership, the Chinese companies will hold a 75% stake. Mozambique's government will own 15% through its state road fund, and local business people will hold 10%. Construction is expected to begin in October at an estimated cost of $30 million. Government spokesperson Inocencio Impisa said Machipanda connects Zimbabwe and other landlocked countries to the port of Beira, Mozambique's second largest seaport, with more than 400 freight trucks crossing the border daily. Officials expect the project to streamline customs and immigration procedures and reduce congestion and shorten cargo waiting times. Staying with African-Chinese collaboration, South Africa has secured Chinese backing for a 2.2 trillion rand or $122 billion energy investment program aimed at expanding electricity supply and rebuilding the country's industrial base after years of load shedding. Electricity and Energy Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa presented the investment drive during a visit to China seeking financing, technology and industrial partnerships. Chinese officials expressed support for the plans. The program targets about 105 gigawatts of new electricity generation and roughly 14,500 kilometers of transmission lines through 2039. Pretoria is also encouraging Chinese companies to establish manufacturing operations in South Africa to produce transformers, batteries, solar components, cables, and other grid infrastructure. The government says local production could reduce import dependence, strengthen industrial capacity, and create jobs. Improved electricity reliability has shifted the focus from emergency interventions towards long-term infrastructure and industrial expansion. South Africa hopes Chinese investment will support its clean energy transition while integrating local manufacturers into global supply chains. Those have been our top stories on Africa. Good morning. Shortly, Arrie Hougaard will join us from South Africa as he delivers the South Africa report. But prior to that, let's have a look at the weather predictions.
current news in South Africa. It is firstly related to the diesel price and the petrol price in South Africa. So it's the Department of Minerals and Petroleum that announced that the petrol price will go down. That is good news for the consumer. That was down from Wednesday this week. It's 52 cents. It will be more cheaper to fill up your tank of petrol. But the overall benefit is equalized by the bad news that diesel will go up. So the diesel price go up by between R1.23 and R1.38 a litre. So that's not good news for South Africa, for the consumer, but specifically for the farming community as well. And so it is the reason for the better petrol price is that the crude oil price was between $86 and $82 a barrel in the review period. And so it also helped that the rand was a bit more stable the last month as well. Farmers in South Africa continue to struggle with the effect of diesel. So that's a big component of the South African economy, and it is all to do with the harvest cost and also to plough the lands and to get all the goods off the fields. And it's about 13% of the production cost that is for harvesting and the field operations. That is the impact of diesel. And it is also a big component of the infrastructure of South Africa in transporting all the goods. So South African products is mostly transported via diesel-powered road freight, and it's about 80% of that is from diesel engines, diesel vehicles that transport the goods. So the effect of a higher diesel price is a big component in the economy. Also, the cost of fertilizers increased quite a lot the last year as well because of all the wars, international instability. That didn't help because 80% of all fertilizers imported to South Africa, the price is highly elevated at the moment. It's about 57% higher year on year, and it's about 30% to 50% of grain production cost, that is fertilizers. So hopefully that cost will come down in weeks and months to come. Continuing with the water supply challenges that is in Gauteng, that continues, and there's about 38,000 households in Gauteng that have no access to any safe or clean running water, and the households add up to about 150,000 people. So it's a big problem in Gauteng at the moment, and there's some initiatives to address that, but the infrastructure is the big problem. So 49% of water get lost. That's because of leaks and pipe bursts and also illegal connections. So the Gauteng water is under big pressure. The infrastructure collapse at the moment, month to month, impacts almost 22% of all the people in Gauteng. That adds up to about 4 million people. So there's a big challenge of the water, and the Department of Water Works in South Africa say that they have many initiatives to address that, but the big challenge is infrastructure, and they're busy upgrading that as soon and as efficient as possible. And closing off current news in South Africa, it's related to weather in the Western Cape, and it's not been a good July month for rain in Cape Town. In Cape Town, the rain season is normally June, July and August, but July was the driest in terms of rain for the last 68 years since 1958. Just 14.4 millimeters of rain was recorded at the airport, which is quite central in the Cape Town area, and most of the areas around Cape Town also only received up to 18 to 20 millimeters average. That's mostly the worst rainfall for 40, 50 and 60 years, for the past 60 years in that region. Luckily for Cape Townians, the dam levels are not too bad. It's 78% the average full at the moment, and that was because there were good rains in May and June. But hopefully it will be a good August for rain in the Cape Town area. So that is current news in South Africa. Sport news in South Africa, we go to soccer first. It's the WAFCON tournament, the Women's African Cup of Nations, that's currently taking place in Morocco. And South Africa did well to qualify for the quarterfinals. They beat Burkina Faso by 1-0. That was after losing their first game to Tanzania by 2-1. The challenge for the South African team now is they're second in their group, and that means they will play the number 1 team in Group A, and that is the host Morocco. So it's a tough quarterfinals for the South African Banyana women's team. They play on Saturday, this coming Saturday, Namibian time, 10 p.m. That is the quarterfinal against Morocco. Another quarterfinal confirmed, that will be Ivory Coast that will play against Algeria. That the kickoff time is 7 p.m. That is Namibian time on Saturday. Cameroon also into the quarterfinals. So that is WAFCON, the Women's African Cup of Nations in Morocco 2026. Moving on to rugby, also in sport news in South Africa, and it's the greatest rivalry rugby that's happening in South Africa starting on Friday. That is the greatest rivalry rugby is the All Blacks from New Zealand, the men's team touring South Africa for 8 games that they will play. So it's very unique. The last time they toured in this format was 1996, and they will play 4 test matches against the Springboks, 3 of them in South Africa, the 4th one will be played in Baltimore in the USA. So there will also be 4 franchise games that they will play. They will play against the Stormers this coming Friday. That's the first game of the season, of the tour rather, and then they also play the Lions, the Bulls and the Sharks. So this coming Friday, it's a big game for the All Blacks playing against the Stormers. The Stormers, however, without their biggest stars that will play for the Springboks this coming weekend. So players like Sasha Feinberg and Komazulu, also Damien Willemse and Paul de Villiers, all will be in action or playing for the Springboks or preparing for the first test on the 22nd of August in Johannesburg. So it will be a tough challenge for the Stormers. Also, it is a game that is played this Saturday. The Springboks, they play Argentina still before they play the All Blacks, and that game will be played on 9 p.m. That's the kickoff time, Namibian time, on Saturday. That's been played in Argentina, and players like Eben Etzebeth and Lou de Jager, also Sia Kolisi, the captain, and Sasha Feinberg and Komazulu, all of them back from injury. Hopefully they will come through that game against Argentina to face the All Blacks in the first test on the 22nd of August. That is sport news in South Africa. Entertainment news in South Africa, we go to the lovely town of Rawsonville. It's about 90 kilometers from Cape Town. It's close to Worcester, and it's in the Brede Kloof. It's called the Brede River Valley. Very scenic. There's about 22 very fine wine estates also in that region, and the town was started in 1850s, and it is a very unique place also for visitors and for tourists. One of the attractions for tourists is a Gautini warm water spa that is close to Rawsonville as well, between Rawsonville and Worcester, and is very popular. Then also lots of great wine estates. The first one is Deetlef's we can talk about, and Deetlef's wine estate goes back to 1822, and there's been 7 generations of ownership of that farm, and they've got great wine tasting as well. You can visit the farm there. It is right next to Rawsonville, the town. They've got the Stone Cross range, that is great white wine, rosé wine, also great red wines with the Pinotage, Merlot, Shiraz and Cabernet Sauvignon. And then also they have the Estate Chenin Blanc, a brilliant white wine, and it's under oak, and it is there's also the Voyage blend. So great wine, a great farm to visit as well. If you want to have a tea or a breakfast as well, Mervida Wine Estate is also close to Rawsonville, and there you can go to Huis te Mervida, and they have also wine tasting, brilliant wines also that Mervida have, and they've got a brilliant tea room, and they also have a scenic garden to visit. And also, if you're visiting that area in Rawsonville, lots to do in and around Rawsonville. There's hiking and also lots of cycling tracks in the mountains. And then also it is a brilliant area also for bird watching. And it is several unique bird species that you can see. 1 or 2 to mention is the African fish eagle that you can see on the slopes also of the mountains and by the rivers, and also the orange-breasted sunbird. So that is all part of what you can see if you're a bird lover wanting to see some of those unique animals. And then also lastly, if you want to play golf as well, the Worcester Golf Course is not far from Rawsonville as well, just a few kilometers. And the Worcester Golf Course started in 1895. It is the 3rd oldest golf course in South Africa, 18-hole championship golf course. So lots to do. So if you're in the Cape area, go to Rawsonville, just 90 kilometers from Cape Town. A great place to visit, and great wine also to taste in that area. That is entertainment news in South Africa.
All right, thank you very much, Arrie, for delivering such a comprehensive South Africa report as we bow out at this time on Africa Good Morning. DSTV 285, GOTV 25, oneup2.com, Network Media Hub, and NTVAFRIKA.MY.NA. That is where you can always find us. As always, we're going to be leaving you with the WAFCON highlights featuring my beloved Copper Queens, Zambia, defeating Malawi 2-1. Of course, you know I'm disappointed that Zambia is now bowed out, but it's Kuchalo forever, baby. And Nigeria 6-2 against Egypt. Suraj Kanaka.
Three teams jostling for two places, and everything will be revealed over the next couple of hours or so. Once he cuts inside, puts it on the right foot, goes for a shot, it's gone in, it's gone over the line, surely, and they're celebrating. She couldn't hold it, it had a sting in it, Messi Sakano, look at that, Zambia take the lead. Barbara Banda gets her 5th goal in this competition, and we're only 2 minutes into the game. When she cut inside, you just knew that she was going to produce something special. As we still go in qualification, it's been picked up here. Nice little dance, and the ball comes back. There's a shot. Oh, it's goal number 2. A brilliant strike as well. Straight across and into the park. Chilufya has managed to make it 2-0. The pullback. Belemu with the touch. Piri into the penalty box. Can she get a ball over? There's the corner coming in. Anybody on the end of it? There's the headers. A little bit tight. Lovely touch and a chance here. She's going to go on the outside. Can she get the shot? It is a goal for Malawi. And of course it is Tabita Chawinga. The Scorchers have raised the temperature here in Rabat. There's the confirmation, the final 10 minutes here. Volley coming in, it's not a bad effort.
The debutants. And in no small part thanks to the Chawinga sisters, Temwa and Tabitha. And we are off. And who can still mathematically qualify, but it would be a major shock if they did. That's a lovely cutback, and striker goal comes in early. Spilled away and pushed away. As a result, Abiodun didn't play in the first game as Ajibade takes her time. Hands on hips. Here comes the 6-time African Women's Footballer of the Year, and finds the back of the net, having sent Habiba the wrong way. Taking it short on this occasion. Bajide into the middle it goes, and that is simplicity itself. A gift for Gift Monday, who could not miss from there. And Nigeria have their second, and as it stands, produce more heroics to keep her side ahead. She can't, because she sent the wrong way, and Egypt have their second goal. That late, and it were enough to take Nigeria through, they would be delighted. Might they do so here? Surely they must. Oh, that is instant impact from the substitute. Can you believe it? Uchenna Kanu, who is just on. That's her first touch. Just 10 minutes left to play in Group C. Up she steps and side foots it in. Oh well, Christy Uchebe nicely played inside the fullback. Egypt come forward, and this is their most promising attack of the second half. Ghazi with the strike, and Ghazi with the goal. Egypt with their second, and it all changes again at the top of Group C. Absolutely nail it. Ajibade for the Super Falcons, scores and surely sends the defending champion. And it goes, this surely is number 6, and it is. Well, there surely can't be much more time. Nigeria have done it. They have ridden their luck.